I've been afraid at times that I've come across as Debbie Downer in some conversations that I have with people. Because
Some
it's not
call
meant,
Dr. Doom,
well,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's not meant to deflate. It's not that what people aren't trying to do isn't critical and something they should do. It's trying to bring some reality into the conversation, which leads me to, uh, I know you saw within the last few weeks, IBM has announced that they're selling off Watson Healthcare. Obviously, healthcare has a place near and dear to my heart, having spent so much of my career there, and that's where I got introduced to RPA and so on. But what does and healthcare obviously is very complex, especially healthcare here in the United States, and it's has its own challenges. But what story or what moral, if anything, you think that announcement by IBM provides for us about how challenging it really is to shoot for the moon sometimes?
It's a great question. I'm not sure I can, with proper merit your question fully, but I can try. I think two things. I think on one hand, if you look as an organization, I have a lot of admiration for IBM, the innovation these guys bring to the table. They were early around. Watson is for me just a broad placeholder, although they later on somewhat muffled is with cognitive computing. They struggled to literally tell the world, and I have to smile now after 2 years with Arago, they was facing some similar issues in that they couldn't always explain what is the applied, what problems actually trying to solve for clients. So a lot of noise about the potential. And again, just echoing what we just said around RPA, about others, or even the broad context of AI. So despite, again, also calling a spade, IBM has a lot of marketing muscle, a lot of investment marketing to their disposal, but they still struggle to explain exactly what was meant to be. It was a broad branding, deep technology capability, and it's still there. The second point, I think it tells a story because they were quite early. So they were struggling quite a bit with historical data. Mm-hmm. If you think about in health context data, it was a different time. So not surprisingly, most of the data they collected was from people looking like you and me, white guys, probably male. That's almost predominance of data. So our life, our society has changed. The ethnic mix has changed. So if you do call the obvious examples, if you do diagnosis for cancer, skin cancer, whatever you have, and you don't have enough data points almost to extrapolate this ethnic diversity, and it just was calling out some of the data challenges, that tells a story. So again, also being early is not always being necessarily the winner. IBM was early, and we should give them a lot of plaudits for educating the market, where nobody else was even close to what they're doing. And I think it tells a story that the advance of AI often get almost trying to get more accessible to the advances of beating games. You have seen Watson, Jeopardy, all these kind of things, and DeepMind came along. We have beaten the best player at Go, which is a highly complex environment. Even my old chums at Arago, they did it almost with even higher complexity than DeepMind around computer game civilization. So you get, on one hand, I think, most where the honor and the merits are due. These are the guys literally driving the almost pushing the envelope on the innovation on AI. So it's also easy to diss IBM around Watson. I think they deserve a lot of plaudits for what they have done, because they literally educated the market on all these issues. They drove innovation to a scale we hadn't seen before. So again, I don't want to be negative, but I think if somebody with the power and kind of investment like IBM is struggling to make progress of that, it literally tells a story. And again, if nothing else, we should be mindful, even in the kind of more mundane things like RPA. Almost you have to smile if the RPA players try to position themselves as AI players, and you get this obvious one because there's investment flowing in. So AI is seen literally saying, hey, there's so much value coming. Will be interesting to see how these high valuations will be followed up. Our investors are keeping their patience. How do you achieve a valuation of 35 billion? Still, I mean, as much as your iPads have progressed, get to a multiple, because if they value already at 35 million, investor want to see a multiple of that. It's asked to achieve. So we'll see. So that almost give you almost different facets as answers to things. So plaudits, but also tell the story where we are as an industry around all those topics.
Yeah, if for nothing else, I think it proves how being at the lead of the pack is so much harder than when you're a fast follower sometimes. And when you're the innovator, sometimes it works out for you commercially, and sometimes it doesn't. Right? I think there's certainly some elements of that involved as well.